Multiple days of severe weather, a developing tropical system in the Gulf, and smoke are all going to be topics of discussion for weather around the United States for the next couple days. My name's Dylan. Welcome to the forecast. So, Dylan, let's get into it. We'll start off with tomorrow's risk for severe weather. This might be the biggest one out of them all. There is a day 2 enhanced risk for severe weather over portions of Pennsylvania, Indiana, New York, and Virginia. There's a couple counties up here in Virginia. So this is for mainly wind. All right, we've got a 45% non-SIG wind risk, a 5% non-SIG tornado risk, and a 5% non-SIG hail risk. All right, but since that wind probability is so far up there, that did support that upgrade to that enhanced risk. So let's just kind of go through this risk. All right, this is starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's going to be mostly quiet. All right, we'll have morning showers and thunderstorms in the primary risk zone, but this is not going to be where the main risk lies. Okay, so if we push this forward by a couple more hours, you'll see nothing really happens with these. This is going to be a concern. This line of kind of discrete cells that's going to form off up here in Michigan over the lakes, they're going to keep pushing on through, and they'll really start to become a problem by about 4 or 5. You'll see, in addition to that, more little beans will start to develop off in front of them. So this main line, as well as these supercells, are going to pose that big wind risk. All right, by 7, we're seeing impacts. Illinois is in a smaller risk, but here in Indiana, Northern Ohio, Pennsylvania here, and New York, we're starting to see some of those wind impacts. And as we push through, looks like, oh, I hit the wrong button. By about 10:11 p.m., it looks like our primary risk is over, and especially by like midnight, this is going to be rain and thunder for these folks down here in West Virginia, Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and southern Ohio. Let's take a look at the fuel that these storms are working with. I'm looking at the Cape here, or the instability up in the atmosphere. As you can see, these storms are going to have a lot of it to work with. Between 2,000 and 2,500 joules per kilogram of Cape, these storms are going to kind of tap into as they just keep on pushing. We can look at the significant tornado parameter. You can see why tornadoes is not really going to be a factor. And once again, I say this every time. Significant tornado parameter doesn't really show you a lot, but it gives you a glance. And if we look over here, I mean, none of these storms are really going to use this little bit of tornado juice that's in the atmosphere. Okay, we've got plenty of low-level shear, but the models are just not really implying that they're going to use it. So that STP, it'll be okay, I think. Let me come back over here and check. So yeah, like 2.5, there's enough of it for a spin up, which is why that 5% risk is in place. But I don't think these storms are going to take advantage of that fuel, and I don't think there's going to be a huge tornado risk tomorrow. Let me show you the biggest fail mode for tomorrow. All right, this is the smoke. This is the near surface smoke density. All right, so this is the smoke that's very low to the ground. It makes it hard to see, and it's that stuff you can smell, basically. So if we take a look at this, this is today, right? This is tomorrow morning. So 6 o'clock, the sun's coming up. And while this smoke is going to push off to the north and the west, I mean, some of these places aren't going to get as much heating in the kind of very morning hours. So, I mean, if we look 9, 10, 11 up to noon, these places right here where that primary wind risk is aren't going to receive a lot of heating. Now, it'll be gone by the time this risk kind of really kicks in here, but the main concern is what if it isn't? All right, we can take a look at another model. This is the 18Z. I'll switch over to 18Z RFS. And it has the smoke clearing out a little bit slower, I think, over the primary risk zone. So our main concern here is if this smoke stays in place, and this is, just at the surface, if this smoke stays in place for longer than anticipated, which it very well could, we could see that heating start to decrease. This is the smoke at the higher levels of the atmosphere. Let me go back to 18Z here. And as you can see, it's about the same, but We've got lingering smoke back here across the primary risk zone at 12:02 p.m. as these storms start to move in. So the models right now are modeling this moving off to the north and east really fast. But if it doesn't, we will see something similar to the bust we had Tuesday. All right, you might recall we had that very rare risk for the northeast, and it didn't do anything. That's because the storms weren't able to get going because of the smoke. All right, it was poorly modeled by the models. They were doing a little bit better job this time, but there's still a possibility that everything doesn't go according to plan and this event completely fails. All right, and I think it is a big possibility. All right, for the rest of our severe risks here, I'm just going to kind of rapid fire them off. All right, on Sunday, we have a slight risk over a few counties in South Carolina, a couple big areas in North Carolina, and a couple counties in Virginia. All right, so this includes Charlotte, Fayetteville, Raleigh, and Winston-Salem in North Carolina. It also includes Virginia Beach. The original outlook set up yesterday included Columbia and South Carolina as well, but it's since been trimmed back. All right, Monday, July 20th, there is a huge 15% severe risk. This covers Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Davenport, Des Moines, Grand Rapids, Wasall in Wisconsin. We've got a lot of larger areas that are going to be covered up in this risk. Day 5 on Tuesday, July 21st, we've got another 15% severe risk. All right, this is over Indianapolis, Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Toledo, and Buffalo, New York. And Wednesday, you thought we were done. No, we are not. There is a risk kind of in a similar area to that of Sunday's. This is for Wednesday, July 22nd, and there is that 15% risk over Charlotte, Fayetteville, Winston-Salem, and Raleigh in North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach, and Washington, D.C. Now, I know I just did a lot of rambling. You can rest easy knowing that the primary risk on all of these days is going to be damaging winds, all right? We do not have a large tornado threat. We don't have any, guerrilla hail threats. It's just going to be damaging winds. Now, that said, damaging winds can be dangerous, of course, but, I mean, at least it's not, super terrible bad tornadoes. All right, the day I'm looking out for is Monday, but all the others we can, to me, it looks like that the primary threat is going to be damaging winds, and I believe that's been agreed upon by meteorologists at the Storm Prediction Center as well. I do want to talk about the general direction of this smoke here. We have these wildfires burning up in Canada, and literally that smoke is being taken, and it's going swoop all the way up here. All right, that jet stream is responsible for that, but we can just take a look. I'm just going to play this for a minute. This is long range. This is 84 hours on the RFS. So if you're in the Northeast, if you're in like Michigan, Minnesota, Northern Illinois, Northern Indiana, Northern Ohio, Pennsylvania, even like New York is getting affected. New York, Boston. If you know what, let me just draw a box. If you're anywhere in this box I just circled, you need to be aware. All right, so this wildfire smoke is going to be very close to the surface. It's going to make it hard to see and is going to make it hard to breathe. All right, so if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, don't go outside. All right, wear those special kind of masks if you have to, but my advice is just to not go outside. All right, and you'll see why if I push this forward. This is the near surface smoke density. So this is the kind of, this is going to be at the surface. Now, even like in St. Louis and Kansas City, it looks like you might get clipped by a little bit of the smoke as well. And it's going to be here to stay, all right? It's going to be here till at least, Monday, Tuesday. Maybe by Tuesday we could start to see a little bit of a clearing, but this weekend into early next week, it is going to be smoky if you're in this box I circled, all right? So don't go outside if you don't have to. If you do, wear the masks. You've just got to be weather aware, all right? The air quality is going to be crap. The visibility is going to be crap. It's going to suck, all right? But it's just something, you got to deal with. If you watched our forecast video the other day, you would, if you're paying really close attention, I warned you about a system that could be developing in the Gulf, okay? So I didn't expect that to do much of anything. The National Hurricane Center meteorologists didn't. But we have now been upgraded so that this thing has a 10% chance of development within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of development within the next 7. Okay, so the National Hurricane Center meteorologists are gaining increased confidence that this storm is going to develop into something. I can show you on the satellite if I look over here. Here we go. This is some convection associated with this off the coast of Florida. This is really non-tropical, but it's this is really non-tropical, but still what we're looking out for. I mean, it could work on getting some development together. I mean, you never know. We can look at the IR and you can just kind of see this. Is probably you seeing tropical. This is moved all the way over the coast of. This is moved all the way over the coast of Florida, however, in the Florida side. You can really see it start all the way back. And I came back and forth from this, unfortunately. You can see it literally just bubbles off the coast. And it kind of starts to move back over Florida. So it's non-tropical convection that I believe was previously kind of associated with the storm. What am I saying? Okay, I'll be honest. I went on a ramble and I don't even know what I was saying. But anyway, if you're in northern Florida here around Jacksonville, all the way up onto the coast of South Carolina, I'd say you need to be getting ready for this kind of tropical rain. All right, it's going to dump a lot of rain on you when it goes over you. Excessive rainfall outlook has calmed down a tad bit. We've got slight risk today, slight risk tomorrow, marginal risk after that. We did have really bad flash flooding in southwest Texas to the west of San Antonio here in this little area. I mean, that's kind of subsided a little now, but these areas were still very, very badly flooded as we expected. Our hearts go out to these folks in southwestern Texas to the west of San Antonio because they're going to need that help. I mean, we've got like entire communities underwater. We have multiple water rescues that were going on or are going on currently. It's a really bad situation. The Climate Prediction Center has new outlooks here. This is the 6 to 10 day. As you can see, there's a little section in the northeast here that's going to receive some cooling as we go into the next 6 to 10 days, partially thanks to that smoke. So I guess you can thank the smoke. But I mean, it's still going to suck. Okay, I'd take the 120-degree weather over having to breathe that smoke in all the time. But that's just me. The 8 to 14 day outlook has a small section of cooling here in the very northeast here where New York is, but the rest of the country, you guessed it, it's going to be hot. And same thing for the 8 to 10 as well. The new August 2026 monthly outlook is here. And if you're in the southeast, if you're in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, bad news. It's going to be hotter than normal. We have 50% above normal and 33% below normal on the precipitation outlook. We've got some slight cooling here in the northern plains, North Dakota, Montana, and Minnesota. But the rest of the country is going to be hot. In some places, it's going to be around normal temperatures, but in a lot of places, it's going to be hot. I'll keep it honest. I did a lot more rambling than I thought I would in this one. I wanted to keep this one short, but I did a lot of rambling and it ended up being long. I'll cut a little. I'll cut a lot of that down. Sorry if this one wasn't great. I'll fix it next time. We should have some new cool stuff coming in the next one. So stay tuned. I'm Dylan. Thanks for watching the forecast with Dylan, and I'll see you next time.